CLT approach in Bangladesh. A study from the socio-cultural and pedagogic perspectives. Studies conducted in Bangladesh regarding CLT. Some important studies on the application of CLT in Bangladesh have been conducted. These researches are mainly about the problems related with financial and infrastructural constraints in the implementation of CLT in Bangladesh. But, there are a very few research works about the cultural appropriateness of CLT in Bangladeshi context. Chowdhury and Le, 2008, conducted a study with 6 Bangladeshi university teachers. The study was done on the basis of qualitative research through unstructured interviews with the participants. The respondents identified some problems as powerful barriers to the adoption of CLT in Bangladesh. The identified problems are teachers' lack of proficiency and fluency in English, large class size, inadequate logistic support in the classroom, lack of teachers' training and time. In that study, one respondent said that teachers do not encourage learners to participate in communicative activities. Another respondent identified traditional teacher-student relationship as a formidable hindrance to the adoption of CLT. In Bangladesh, a teacher has a father-like image which gives the teacher an unquestionable and authoritarian role in the classroom. A respondent suggested that mediating between CLT and traditional grammar translation method will be a wholesome choice for Bangladeshi ELT situation. The studies done about CLT in Bangladesh identified the following problems. They are large class size, teachers' lack of fluency, lack of teachers' training in CLT, traditional grammar-based examinations and teacher-student relationship. Communicative language teaching approach in Bangladesh. Before the introduction of CLT, grammar explanation, vocabulary memorization and translation of decontextualized sentences were in practice in ELT pedagogy. English textbooks include selections from prose and poetry with a supplementary grammar book for paper -2 in which grammar items were presented structurally with no interactive exercises. The activities included only writing paragraphs, essays, personal letters and job applications.
In examinations only the writing and reading skills were assessed and speaking and listening skills were not tested. Chowdhury and Ha 2008, page 306. It was believed that the grammar translation method could not make the learners communicatively competent. In spite of these changes and efforts to introduce CLT, Classroom teaching seems to adhere to the old, chalk and talk drill method, Pandian, 2004, as cited in Littlewood, 2007, p. 246. The fact is that at all levels of education the grammar translation method is still being followed in Bangladesh. There is a conflict between the policy-level expectation and actual practice (IBID). Mapping the CLT approach onto Bangladeshi context. Teachers, learners and classroom activities. Many teachers in the EFL context find the CLT activities as conflicting with the education system of non-Western countries. Various classroom activities, such as games, problem-solving, role plays that promote interaction and communication in the classroom are consciously avoided by the teachers in our country because teachers are not comfortable with these activities. Shahidullah 2007, p.30 remarks. The classroom procedures pair work, group work, role play, simulation, drama technique being very active in classroom activities are largely Western in nature and significantly different from teaching and learning experiences and preferences of teachers and learners in non-Western contexts, which in most cases are characterized by learning from lectures and rote learning which are not advocated by CLT as language learning techniques. CLT expects learners to learn language in collaboration with other learners and teachers to act as only facilitators and negotiators. But, this construct is not compatible with our traditional education system, which is of course teacher-centered. In our country, classes of all disciplines are conducted in a teacher-fronted way. Teacher's image is that of a knowledge provider whose knowledge cannot be doubted. On the other hand, the Western education system advocates a kind of democratic classroom where learners are equal to teachers and a superordinate-subordinate relationship does not exist in the class. Teachers are friendly, open and facilitate the learning process. But, the role of the teacher as negotiator, facilitator of learning is manifestly absent from our education system, and the language class is not different from that. Communicative activities like games, information gap activities, survey require the students to move around the class. Bangladeshi teachers have the conception that these might lead to a chaotic situation in the class. Planning and conducting these activities also require innovative skills and fluency of the teachers. These things together with the practical barriers encountered by the teachers make the implementation of CLT a difficult task. Teachers commonly report large class size, lack of logistic support, learners' inhibition as very powerful impediments to the implementation of CLT. However, what is most conspicuous is teachers' reluctance to follow the CLT approach. Majority of our teachers are comfortable with the authoritative form and style of teaching. The age-old cultural values have created this mindset in them. Traditional education system. The traditional Indian subcontinental education system and teacher-student relationship practice have created a godlike image for a teacher in our country. During the Vedic and post-Vedic period, the teacher's place was second to that of God only. He was respected more than a king in the society. During the Upanishad period as well, when self-study swadhyaya was considered as dignified, the place of guru-mentor in the society remained intact. It was believed that no knowledge could come without the assistance of the guru. There were rules for the respect due from a pupil to a teacher. Strict obedience of students to teachers was common. The student was on no account to contradict the teacher and was always to occupy a seat or couch lower than the teacher. Progress of education in ancient India. The corporal punishment system, which is still present in our education system, is a legacy of the traditional Indian education system. In this system, parents used to tell the mentors, "The flesh is yours, the skeleton is mine." It was a kind of blank check to the mentors given by parents for their children's upbringing. A myth surrounding the Mughal Emperor Alamgir, his son and the mentor Shikaguru, highlighting the dignity of mentor, is still a hackneyed anecdote in the Indian subcontinent. Teachers have been carrying that mindset generation after generation. This authoritative image of teachers cannot be shunned by them to follow CLT because they have the conception that a class with teachers shifting control to students might turn into a messy one.
Our language classes are not virtually different from classes of other subjects, such as history, philosophy and civics. Our Bangla classes are also traditionally conducted. The Western style of learning through interaction and collaboration is not present in our education system. So, democratic and participatory classes which are necessary for CLT approach are absent here. In the same vein, in our education system the learner's role is the opposite to that of teachers. Learners are usually expected to be submissive, unquestioning and naive. They are merely the silent recipients of knowledge from teachers. The learner-centeredness as enunciated by CLT is culturally conflicting with our education system. Conclusion. This study, which has been done as an evaluative work, has tried to critique CLT from the socio-cultural and pedagogic perspectives. The teachers in the EFL countries are not comfortable with this method, and majority of them still follow the traditional grammar translation method. CLT approach, that advocates student-centered L2 teaching and depends on a variety of highly interactive activities and techniques, is not popular with the Bangladeshi teachers. Teachers do not like to abdicate their traditional authoritative mentor's role in the classroom. In our education system, English is generally taught in the same way as other subjects. The teachers also cannot acquire the socio-linguistic competence that are associated with CLT as a mainly English as a native language (ENL) approach. So, an appropriate English teaching method should be followed that will take the socio-cultural reality of the EFL context in cognizance, because attempts to implement CLT in non-Western contexts often result in what Holliday, 1992, describes as tissue rejection, cited in Shahidullah, 2007.